Welcome to lesson 71, looking at this big concept, finding the whole when a fraction is known. This is another look at understanding equal group type problems and using a box to break things apart. The difference is we're not starting with the total or the number isn't necessarily just given straightforward to us. I'm not finding the right words. Let me just show you what I mean. Here's our first example. When Juan finished page 51, he was 3/8 of the way through his book. His book had how many pages? So in the past, we would have been told what that 3/8 was and kind of how to break it up a little bit. So it just sounds a little different. But in the end, we can create a really simple picture to get us going with this. All right, so we break it down like this. We create a diagram like this, and we know that this diagram, we need a total up here, but we don't know. That's actually what we're looking for, how many pages are in the book. So from here, we have to use the information that we are given. All right, it says that Juan finished 51 pages. And so by the time he was done with 51 pages, he was this far into the book. All right, he was 3/8 of the way done with the book. All right, so we could say 3/8 finished or 3/8 read. So what we need to do is we need to break this into parts then. By breaking this into parts, we need to understand if 51 is the total that you've read so far, and that's 3/8 of the book, well, how much is 1/8 of the book, or one part of that? So we first have to start by taking this 51 and dividing it by the fraction that we know. Right? We know it's divided into 3 parts, 3 of the 8 parts, but 3 parts in general. So 51 can be divided by 3. And by dividing that by 3, we should be able to come away with the number of pages that he reads in 1/8 of the book. Right? So that goes in 1 time 3. So we get an answer of 17. So now we can continue to fill in our ideas. So we're going to write 17 pages all the way down. Now that we understand that that's our division of the 8 different parts that we're looking at here. And so now we're starting to understand the complete picture here, as we started with a fraction, had to divide that fraction into separate little pieces to be able to see the whole. Now that we have this, right, we could put this label here, not read, like that. But the question then asks us how many pages does this book have altogether? And so now that we understand that one section is 17, we can actually take that 17 and multiply by the 8 parts, because here it tells us there are 8 parts. And then we're going to get an answer of 136. And that leads us to understand that there are 136 pages in this book. But we had to break it down in a slightly different way than we've done before. Familiar, but we got to kind of take a slightly different approach. All right. Now, as we think about this problem, what we actually did was we took it and, well, we took it into a pictorial sense, and we drew that chart out and we saw the different pieces. The fact is we needed to solve this equation to be able to find the different pieces to work with this story. So we talk about the idea of an expression or an equation that allows us to understand the methodology that we used. And so in the end, we can come away with this equation, that 3/8 times P, standing for the pages, equals 51. So 3/8 of the total pages equals 51. And in essence, when we have this equation put before us, now we understand that we could just solve for this to get the complete answer for what we're looking at. But now, how do we solve this equation? All right, to solve this, we understand that 3/8 is times something, which equals 51. Right? So if we were to rearrange this, in essence, we would have to divide 51 divided by 3/8. Now, right away, this should jump out at you. You're dividing by a fraction, so that now means we're going to take 51 and multiply by the reciprocal. And so by multiplying by the reciprocal, then, we can then understand that 8 times 51 is 408, and that's over 3. And then we can divide that number out, and we're going to get an answer of 136. How do I know that? Because that's what we got last time. All right, but just to prove it, if you don't believe me, all right, 408 divided by 3 goes in 1 time, 3, 1, 0, goes in 3 times, that's a 9. Moving down, 1, 8, 3 goes into 18, 6 times. Right, so in this way, we've taken a problem, we've used what we've learned in the past. Now we're applying our more advanced math skills, being in this level of math, and in some degree, we solved this problem much faster than using the picture. All right, your turn. Go ahead and use this to solve this problem. As Sakura went from room to room, she found that 3/5 of the lights were on and that 30 lights were off. How many lights were on? So first, start by drawing the diagram, the box diagram, to enable you to do that. And then see if you can figure out what is the expression that you would use to solve this equation in a more algebraic form. That's it for lesson 71.